Hello, everyone. Kurt Barry with Stillwater Financial. Wanted to come and talk to you today, working with 10X Prosperity to share some more intriguing educational material. And today we wanted to talk about your maximum potential. I think this is a concept that we don't really think about, but it is very, very important for us to consider as we think about our future and our finances. What is your maximum potential? How much money will actually come into your life, and how much of it will you actually get to keep? So we're going to take a look at that with our calculator today. So on our screen here, we should be able to see we've got our maximum potential calculator. And this is a family that are currently age 35. We're going to look at the next 30 years. So they're age 65, and their combined income is $150,000. Now, if you'll notice that if they make $150,000 a year and they do that for 30 years, that they're going to end up making $4.5 million over their working career. $4.5 million. That doesn't include what they've already earned. This is what they will earn for the next 30 years. That's a pretty large number, don't you think? Now, with inflation and the cost of things going up over time, they obviously would not be happy if they can just earn $150,000 every year for their entire lifetime. They're going to be expecting to get raises and promotions and job changes and things over time. And let's just say that over time, they were able to get a 4% increase. They would really need that just to keep up with, cost of living. That means over that time, and by their last year, they're going to be making $467,000, and they will have accumulated almost $8.5 million of wealth that will flow through their fingers and income. Isn't that amazing? $8.5 million income that comes into their family. That's incredible. Now, I want you to think about, even though their last year, age 65, they made $467,000 of income because of inflation. Their money's growing at 4%. That really doesn't give them any more money than when they first started at age 35 of making $150,000. It's the same spending power, isn't it? Isn't that interesting? But if you earn $467,000, do you think you're in the same tax bracket as when you're earning $150,000? Answer is obviously no. You would jump up several different tax brackets. So although you would earn the same spending power, you're going to give away more to Uncle Sam and actually have less money to actually spend. Isn't that interesting? So big things to look at and questions we have to go through as time goes by. But one of the things that we could do is to say, well, we got this money. Well, let's talk about something just crazy, because we're talking about your maximum potential. What if you had a job like through the government where the government actually paid all your expenses, right? They paid for your food and your housing and clothing, cars, transportation, all that kind of stuff. They paid for all your expenses. You literally would have the ability to save every penny, or save and invest every dollar that comes into your dollars. And if you could, what if we could put that to work for you and earn, say, 5% on the money? Then the amount of money that would actually flow through your fingers would actually be just under $17 million. $17 million. That's a gigantic number, isn't it? Now, obviously, that's kind of a silly statement. We don't really have that much, but because we can't save everything, we do have to, pay for, all the things that we do to live. So let's start to talk about some of those things that we have to pay. And one of the most damaging things that we have to spend money on are taxes. Now, think about all the kinds of taxes that we pay. We pay taxes on our income, federal taxes, state taxes, maybe local taxes. We buy houses. We have property taxes. We buy cars or sales taxes. We have cell phones or cell phone taxes. There's usage taxes. There's utility taxes. There's taxes. Then there are fees that we pay, like license. We have to have license, driver's license fee, fishing license fee, marriage licenses. We have to pay all these different fees, and you add them all up and they add up to a lot of money. I'm going to say conservatively that this couple is actually paying about 40% in taxes. It's probably a lot higher than that, but let's just call it 40% for our example. Well, what's interesting is over their working career, they're actually going to pay about $3.3 million in taxes, right? But because they don't just get to pay the $3.3 million at the end, they have to pay bits and pieces of it all along the way. Well, that's money that comes out of what their growth potential could be. And so it actually takes from their wealth potential almost $6.8 million. So notice, instead of having just under 17 million, they have just over 10 million. So almost $7 million is lost because they have to pay Uncle Sam. Isn't that crazy? That's how life is working. A little bit here, a little bit there, and it just keeps eating into our wealth potential. Now, the other thing that we do as Americans is we spend a lot of money on debt. We buy stuff and buy it on credit cards. We finance things through banks, all kinds of different things. And the average American is actually spending about 35% of every dollar on debt payments, between mortgages and car payments and college expenses and credit cards and medical bills, all those kinds of things. So if we spend about 35% of our payments go to debt, then there's almost another $3 million of our wealth that gets spent, and again costs us almost $6 million of our wealth potential. So of the 17 million that this couple could have earned, they're now down to just having access to about 4.2 million. Now, still, it's not a bad number, but it's a far cry from 17 million. And we haven't done anything for ourselves yet, have we? All we've done is pay everybody else. So obviously we have a lifestyle. We're going to live and, buy groceries and do the things that we want to do. And 23% of our income goes to lifestyle. Now notice that's much smaller than the debt payments and the taxes. So we're giving away 3/4 of our income and living on 1/4 of our income. Isn't that kind of crazy when you stop and think about it? But this is what everybody's been influenced to do, influenced to believe about how we should be using money. Maybe we should be learning to think a little bit differently. So those are some things we'll look at. Again, lifestyle, these are the things we wanted to do. We're going to spend almost $2 million of our wealth, which would be no problem if we had $17 million, but we're going to spend about $2 million of our wealth. It's going to cost us just under $4 million of our wealth potential. And all of a sudden, here we are, although we had 17 million had the potential to flow through our hands, at age 65, we're left with about just under 300,000. 300,000. Now, remember, we said our last year working, we needed almost 467,000 just to meet our spending expenses, and we don't even have 1 year of our income available. So what are we going to do for potentially 30 years in retirement? A very good question. We're going to have to address this somehow, aren't we? The industry tells us that the way that you resolve that is you just have to take more risk. Now, that means you're going to, instead of taking 5% being conservative, you're going to have to go up to maybe 10%. Now, in order to earn a net 10% earnings, you're probably going to have to earn 13 to 14% every single year in order to try to make a difference. And after fees and expenses and taxes, let's see how much impact that has. So we go from 339,000 of assets, and by raising this to 10% earnings, we raise it to about 781,000. So all we do is add about a year's worth of income to our need by increasing the risk. And again, all risk is increasing the chance of loss. So does it really make sense to take more risk, increasing the chance that you lose more to try to create more wealth? It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but those are the things that we have to talk about and wrestle with our clients. So maybe something else we could do is let's bring this back to 5% and not take more risk, but maybe we could, in looking at your overall picture, maybe we could come up with some ideas that would actually help you to reduce your taxes that you give to Uncle Sam and the state and the counties and the cities and all the different places that we do. What if we could just come up with some basic strategies that reduces your taxes by maybe 10%, not a huge amount. Now, that does not mean we're going from 40% to 30% tax, but where you reduce your 40% by 10%. So 4% would be 10% of 40. So let's just take and reduce your taxes down to 36%. Now, maybe we could come up with even better ideas, but we're just going to start with this. So if we could just reduce your taxes you have to pay by 10%, bringing you down to 36%, notice that actually gives us more money than taking on extra risk. Isn't that interesting? Now we have about $1 million we could use. Again, maybe it's only 2.5, 3 years of income, but we at least are addressing it in a way that doesn't make us reduce our lifestyle and or doesn't make us take more risk that puts us a chance of losing more in the future. Okay, now with this money that we could save, what if we started to use that little bit of savings and actually applied it to minimizing our debt payments? And in using different strategies with debt and having more cash flow going towards debt, maybe we could actually reduce your debt by as much as half, maybe even more, but we'll just look at half. What if we could bring your debt payments down to where it's only 18% of your total income? Notice now that our wealth has grown to almost 4 million. So we're moving in the right direction, right? We've got about 9 years of income potential now instead of just 1 or 2. Now, this doesn't obviously solve all of the problems, but at least we're moving in the right direction. And we haven't asked you to give up any of your lifestyle. Now, could you choose to reduce your lifestyle for a period of time if you wanted to help address these issues even more? Well, that would be a personal call. But most people don't like to reduce lifestyle. They want to be able to address payments that go to other people that we don't really want to have to make anyway. All right, I'm going to stop there, but hopefully you can see that with our maximum potential calculator, there is an awful lot of wealth that flows through our fingers or has the potential to. It's just that we don't really get to keep very much because we're so busy giving the money to other people. If we could sit down and look at your picture or your financial picture and find ways to maybe reduce taxes, reduce debt payments, and not take any more risk and not reduce your current lifestyle, would that be something that would be worth your time? Well, these are the things that we do with our clients. So if we could help you talk through that, we'd love to sit down and show you some ideas and maybe help you move towards capturing as much of your maximum potential as possible. I hope you have a great day and let us know if we can help in any way. Talk to you soon.